What's your background? How'd you get in? How'd you get in with Thin Lizzy?
Uh, well, from the very beginning, because
That fast? Is
I was playing a lot of bar bands and things in California, Los Angeles.
that where
Uh,
you're born?
yeah, L.A.
What's your date of birth?
1951.
Okay.
So, um, and I just got bored of being in Los Angeles and knocking around with the same people. I mean, they were great musicians, the people I was playing with, but I just wanted to get into different people, different kinds of music, and a different environment and all that. So my brother-in-law, who plays drums at Supertramp, came over to L.A. Right? He says, why don't you come over to England, try your hand over there, get your head into a different situation, right? So I said, great, okay, I think I'll give that a go, right? So I sold my car, stereo, and anything I could get my hands on, I was selling it, right? And I got over there and formed my own band in England called Fast Buck. And it had three Americans and a guy from St. Louis, a guy from Georgia, myself, and a guy from London. And just started playing there for around the pubs. They have a great pub circuit in London, right? And I played the pub circuit for about 6 months, right? And just through like playing the pub circuit and all that, I met a lot of different musicians and a lot of different people, right? And through those people, I met Phil and Brian, because they were telling me that these other people, they were telling me that Lizzy needed a guitar player.
What state were they in at that time? They also they were just a pub band.
Well, no, they'd had a hit in England. It was a song called "Whiskey in the Jar,"
Irish
which
thing.
which pumped them up to number 5 over there in the charts, right? So they were a band with a name, but they weren't like really a big band at all, right? But they did have a band with a slight reputation and just that kind of a thing, right? But what I had heard about them, I just heard about them and read about them. I'd never heard any of their material or any of their songs or anything. So when their management called me up and asked me if I wanted to come down and have a blow, it wasn't as if I was walking into something that was going to be awe-inspiring or awestruck or anything like that. I could just walk in there and be myself
Gotcha.
and not have to say, well, geez, I better copy this lick or that lick just to make sure I get the gig, right? So that's the way I really worked. I just just walked in there, plugged my guitar into a couple of their amplifiers, and said, okay, let's do a song. And so they taught me a couple of songs, and I learned them, played them. They were taping the whole thing, right? And at the end of the audition, Phil says, well, can I get your phone number? Right, I thought, oh, well, there you go, that's that. Right? Don't call me, I'll call you. Right? I said, yeah, I gave him my phone number and packed up my guitar and started to walk out. And he says, hey, listen, why don't you come back tomorrow? I went, that could mean something. But then he called me that night and asked me to join the band.
All right.
And it's been that way ever
Just
since.
like that.
Yeah.
Had they auditioned a bunch of other guys too?
Yeah, I think they said they went through like 20 or 25 different guitar players and couldn't find the right people until Brian and I came in.
How and did it matter one way or the other, pro or con, that you were American?
It did. On the manager's side, they got kind of weirded out with me being American at first because they thought, in fact, they were trying to push me aside, saying, no, we don't really want to try this guy out because we're going to have visa problems, we're going to have work permit problems, and we're going to have this problem and that problem, keeping him in the country and all that. But both Phil and Brian said, Brian Downey said, well, listen, man, we've just gone through 25 guitar players and we can't find anybody. We got to give them a go, man, because we're losing money, we're losing our ass for being off the road. So it was Phil and Brian Downey here that talked him into letting me come down and trying out.
But there were no like xenophobic kind of problems.
Anyway,
Like nationalistic kind of problems.
what about them not liking Americans?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I interviewed some guy last week, and he says I'm an American, and fuck these English guys, this kind of thing. I get that a lot from American bands, saying that kind of thing.
Well, that's kind of weird because even like when I was in bands over here, I never had that attitude at all. Of course, of course, I was on a different scale of playing over here too.
Yeah, I don't know if they really mean it, but that's like a pose, like they, you do a pro-American pose, and the kids like that, it's supposedly something like that.
Nah, good music is good music, no matter where it comes from. I mean, if somebody wants to slag off somebody else to make it sound like they're better, then go ahead, let them do that. But we don't do that kind of trip at all.
So things have really changed a lot for the band since the hit Boys Are Back in
Oh
Town.
yeah, I mean, life is a lot easier now. Hell, in the first American tour, we were sleeping 4 and 5 in the one room in the Holiday Inn. Right? So you'd bring a chick in and she'd freak. 15 bodies, man. But yeah, it's life. Life is a lot easier now. I mean, touring is a lot more comfortable now. It's not as much of a strain as it used to be. I mean, people know who we are now finally, and they know our material, so we can walk into venues, and a good majority of the people, I mean, there's still a lot of people who probably don't know who we are, but now at least we've got a foot in the door, and people have heard the name, and people have got up and bought the albums, and they don't just know us. Like our real supporters won't just know the Boys Are Back in Town. They'll know things like Warriors or Massacre or Fighting
and even the new album.
and the new album, right?
Yeah. Like last night, I noticed even though you were opening for Queen, quite a few people left after you went off. And like I stayed for a couple of numbers of Queens, and then I left, and then when I was walking out, there were like droves of people walking out, and I spoke with a few people, all saying, "Oh yeah, we came for Thin Lizzy, we don't want to hear this shit," and stuff like that.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Well, we were supposed to play here last year, which was really shame because I was being a California boy. I used to come up here all the time from LA just for like weekends or whatever, just because I really like it up here. Right?
Jefferson Airplane.
Well, whatever. I mean, not even just to hear the music, just because San Francisco is a beautiful spot. But we would come up and go into the concerts like the Fillmore and all that, right? And that had always been like an ambition of mine to be able to actually play in San Francisco. So it was kind of heartbreaking for me the last time not to get so close, but then yet so far away, not being able to actually play.
What happened last night?
Well, we were supposed to come up and do a couple of gigs with Joe Cocker, and I guess he ended up getting sick and he couldn't get up on stage, so that bumped 3 gigs right off our schedule right off the bat. Right, we were supposed to play right in San Francisco, San Jose, and one other place around this area, and we just didn't get to do it.
Probably now that wouldn't matter, you'd be able to go on anyway.
Well, I hope that's true, but I was really looking forward to this time too. There was just nothing that was going to stop me from getting up there this time.
And what do you think of it this time?
I thought it was great. I mean, the audience was great to us. I mean, it really felt good. It felt natural being up there, up here.
Is it always that way?
In a lot of places it is. We're finding this time, but then there's the places where they obviously aren't playing the albums or the songs at all, and the people don't know who we are, and you run into like a stone wall. Right?
Where's that at?
That's mostly on the East Coast, like New York, hardcore New York, and just that East Coast area where they're more into. Either they're really huge bands that they're into, or they're more into like the R&B or the soul or whatever, the disco type of crap.
It's funny because in the new Billboard, the big show of the they had the highest grossing show of the week.
It was
you guys, you and Queen at Madison Square Garden.
Well, that was because it was sold out.
Yeah.
But see.
But it wasn't a good gig.
Not for us. It wasn't a good gig. I think we were probably a little bit awestruck by walking into Madison Square Gardens the first time playing in New York. See, we were supposed to play in New York 2 two times before this tour.
Like at the
right?
Palladium or something like
The
that.
Palladium, or there's another one called.
Yeah, another one uptown.
Yeah, we're supposed to play at those. I mean, because that would have been a nice icebreaker to walk into a smaller venue, especially in New York. Right? But we walked right into Madison Square Garden, and just hearing the reputation that the place had, I think, sort of blew us away a bit. So it inhibited us a bit, which we couldn't really put on the show that we wanted to. Couldn't feel relaxed up there. And I think that was really Queen's show in New York. I mean, the audience seemed to like us well enough, but it wasn't. You could tell it just they were there for Queen, no doubt about it. So.
And last night you didn't get that feeling, I'm sure. Did you?
Oh no! I mean, it was warm last night. It was hot last night. The audience was really hot.
I was wondering if you guys had that kind of rapport with all your audiences, because that blew me away. I couldn't believe it.
No, and in a lot of the places we're playing on this tour, we're getting those kind of responses. But like I just said, then there are the places where it seem like we're falling on our ass.
Because that was not a San Francisco kind of response. I'll tell you that. I was shocked. Because
Really?
it's such a cold audience usually. It was, the shows I've been to, people just, like after the show, they say, "Oh yeah, it was great." I'm thinking, how do you think it was great? And you didn't do anything.
You just stood there,
right? But last night, I couldn't believe it. He got him to sing, all that stuff and everything. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, that was a good time. Really good. Yeah, it's amazing. Touring around the country here and hearing the different places, everybody's going, "Baby, baby." I mean, that's a pretty cliched thing, right? But it's people have a lot of fun. I mean, it's a real simple line, and when the audience is ready for it, man, they want to jump in there with you and have a good time with you. Right? They see we're having a good time up there, and that makes them want to have a good time. We're very much in eye contact, man. We like to get in there with everybody in the audience, and egg them on to have a good time with us.
It's the first thing I noticed about the band is that communication, the rapport with the audience was real good. And you guys working out real good. Sort of little choreography is real nice.
Yeah, well, we throw little things like that in there. There's nothing worse than watching, say, a heavy band or a hard band sit up there and plant their cement feet right on the stage and don't move, right? That sort of defeats the purpose,
I've seen that. In fact, I've been on the road a few times with the Blue Oyster Cult. In the beginning, that was their stance. They would just stand there and play, and they weren't getting any kind of audience response. Now, the last tour was amazing. I mean, they're just all over the stage. They're jumping around the same way you two guys are, except they're doing it sometimes with four of them, or even five of them. The drummer jumps off and gets the guitar. Yeah. And they're all doing that, and the audience goes crazy.
What? Man, people pay to see a show. They don't see four guys. They don't pay to see four guys just standing there. Man, to me, that's defeating the purpose of rock and roll.
Yes.
Like me for what I am.
Right. Art.
Art, really.
Have you been following the punk scene at all in England or here?
No, I'm not. I dig what they're trying to do. I mean, a lot of these punk bands, I mean, they're really inexperienced at what they're doing, but they're having a hell of a good time at what they're doing, and they're really out there trying to make some money and try to make a living and have a good time at it. But as far as actually liking it, I can't really say that I like it. I mean, I wouldn't actually go to a concert.
But you've listened to it on records or something?
Well, I've heard a few things, like in London, like from the Sex Pistols or the Damned or something like that. But I don't think I would go to a punk rock concert or buy a punk album or anything. It's just not there's not enough there for me.
Well, what are they trying to do? What are the Sex? I mean, we hear about the Sex Pistols, but I don't know how much of it is true and what's hype. I mean, it sounds to me like they're a lot tougher than the American punk bands are.
Well,
but I don't know if that's true or not.
I think that's all in the publicity and trying to make a gimmicky name for themselves. Yeah, the thing I don't like about it is they're trying to put down people like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles to build themselves up to be better than them, which is, to me, is a bad attitude. Tearing somebody else down to make yourself sound better. That's, I mean, if you can't do it on your own grounds, then why do it at all? It's the old saying: if you don't got anything It's something good to say, you know. Don't say it at all. You know.
Sounds like a real California attitude.
Well, I mean, it's sort of a band attitude that we have. We don't like to go around really tearing anybody down.
Yeah, most bands don't. I mean, the American punk bands certainly don't do that. They're all, especially when you have the tape recorder on. They'll all.
Well, it seems like the English punk bands are into that.
Yeah.
You know.
I interviewed the Ramones a few days ago. They were all friends from before they were a band, and the tape recorder was on. They were all quiet. About as soon as the tape recorder was off, they were all telling me how they hate the Sex Pistols and they hate this band, they hate that band.
But they don't want the world to know, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to take, don't you? You know?
So, are you? Is England your home now, or America?
Yeah, I live in London. I've lived in London now for about 4 years.
You got an English old lady, or?
No, I got my girlfriend from New York. I've been going with her ever since I've been in Fast Buck. Right? I mean, she's not somebody that's latched onto me as soon as the boys were back in town and came around. Yeah, she's a really good old lady. Her name is Marie.
And she lives in England.
Yeah.
Is she over there now?
No, she's in California right now. She's flown over to spend a couple weeks with me here after the tour. Because I'm taking 2 weeks off after the tour and going back, spending some time with my relatives. Because I haven't spent Christmas with any of my relatives for like the last 4 years, so I'm gonna try to take some time out and spend a good solid 2 weeks with everybody. Try to get to know them again.
Are you making any bucks now?
Any bucks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You personally?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I've made quite a bit of money now. You know. Don't try to flaunt it around too much. But I'm looking pretty healthy now.
And it's like, kind of the kind of money that you'll be able to live off when you stop doing this?
Yeah.
All right.
But we've got schemes that we're working on and all that to save everybody a lot of money without trying to pay Uncle Sam too much.
A big problem.
Oh, England's ridiculous.
Really?
It's gotten really socialistic over there. With the 83% tax now, that's ridiculous.
What do you do about that? How are you getting around it?
We're paying it.
You too?
Oh yeah.
Even though you're an American
I'm a
citizen?
resident. See, I'm a resident of England, so
You gotta pay taxes in both places or something?
yeah. I mean, no matter where you work, you have to pay the going rate of taxes. So I end up paying whatever they ask me to pay. 'Cause I don't want to go to jail.
Are you actually paying 83% of your take?
Yeah.
So you get like 17%, so that doesn't sound like very much.
Well, there's certain ways that you can. Initially, I'm supposed to be paying 83%, but we're trying to work out different things where you don't have to actually pay 83%.
What do you by like investing or something like that?
Well, just certain schemes, I don't want to talk about taxes.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder how that came up.
Yeah, no, it's just the less I talk about that, the
better you feel. So.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. Does it look like there's going to be a hit from this new album?
Well, we've got a single that's out now that the whole band really believes in. We believe in this song. It's called "Don't Believe a Word." Actually, we played it last night.
And it's on the album. I've heard.
Yeah, I think that's a song that's really gonna do it. Right now, it's a top 10 hit in England. Actually, we've got three things in the charts. We've got "Jailbreak" is back in the charts there at 25. "Johnny the Fox" I think is number 15, and "Don't Believe a Word" is in the top 10 there. So we've got three products there.
Excuse me, I want to introduce you to Phil Lynott.
Even under the influence of drugs, I probably.
I want to ask you about your lyrics, about the importance of the lyrics in your music. I was at the show last night, and a lot of the stuff, like, I was wondering how much of the words people were understanding, as opposed to like the music, the show, the kind of the entirety.
I really don't know. I know. Like, as far as Lizzy, it's the one thing Lizzy has above most of the rock bands is, one, we go for melodies. Two, we go for the dual lead guitar thing. And three, like, there's a bit of intelligence goes into the lyrics. I'm not saying that other bands don't think about them. But like, I think we think about them a little more. Let's put it that way, you know. And so the lyrics to me are very important, you know. I like.
Obviously, because you write them and
Yeah.
they're good lyrics.
He's the only one in the band that does write the lyrics.
I know.
Because I can't write it for shit.
But and I've done the book of lyrics that I did, the songs for One and Away. I've got a second one. They sell very well, you know. I mean, it's on its third edition. The kids that are into Lizzy are into the lyrics. Yeah, so much so that it's frightening, you know. I mean, it's I really do know what I'm writing about, you know.
How come you don't put them on the album?
Well, it's simple. It gets to a stage that you end one album and you start the next. You're so busy creating in that empty period, you know, between like the end of Johnny the Fox now and our next album, whatever it's called. We're all writing. So by the time the album is finished, the album cover and everything, the final touches to the lyrics aren't always necessarily done. You always need the lyrics finished a month before the album sleeve, or before the album is done to get on the album sleeve. And I don't always work that way. So the lyrics are normally completed. You know, like I like to leave them right up to the last minute to finish off lyrics. So the lyrics are not always completed till the last
Gotcha.
day of recording, so it's very hard to get them on this thing.
A lot of the lyrics are about like being I don't know. It seems like you're a gang leader or something like that. Like you're singing from a persona of being this kind of outlaw. Or is that just my interpretation? I don't know.
I've always been a toughie, you know. One section of the songs that we do is on that level.
Yeah.
For example, The Boys Are Back in Town,
Johnny the Fox.
Johnny the Fox, Jailbreak and stuff like that. But it's only one side of it, and I think there's other sides of it too. You know, it's just relates to being in gangs,
It's so
crews, and just being a youth more than anything else. And I don't think particularly that it relates to a lot of kids on that level, on that street level. But there's also love songs that I do. There's what I call funny, serious songs like Romeo and the Lonely Girl and the Cowboy song, you know. Plus there's the Irish songs, you know, which are like Emerald, I think is a very Irish song. Wild One is a very Irish song. Fool's Gold is a very Irish, especially the introduction piece, it's very Irish, you know. So I feel it gets broken down into a different sort of.
But when you get to a song like Johnny the Fox on the new album, it's kind of in the vein of a lot of this punk stuff almost now. Not technically, but lyrically. I mean, is this a good guy? Is it supposed to be a good guy who's breaking into a pharmacy and stealing something?
That's Johnny.
Johnny, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Johnny and Johnny the Fox are two
right,
different
Johnny, sorry.
characters, right. Johnny is Johnny was a bit of a punk, but Johnny's like your run-of-the-mill junkie that you meet up with that breaks it. I don't know if they have a lot of them here, but like because they're so down on drugs in England, you get a lot of guys, thieves, knowing there's a lot of money in robbing chemists, you know, or pharmacies as you call them. And so they do them, and it's they always end up like getting caught or getting into a really sort of heavy situation, and like without it being a dreamlike situation that the TV conjures up, or you know, a movie situation like the movies. This is one like that. I think nearly every guy knows somebody who's robbed a shop or done, you know what I mean. It's a sad thing to say, but I mean, in my neighbourhood, I know like there was lots of guys that did rob shops or did a chemist, or I knew somebody who'd done it, and they told you about like the night they got caught, and there was this great tension in it, you know, and it was something you could relate to straight away without it being almost dreamlike, you know what I mean? Like, because you look at the television, man, and some of them, like, I look at Starsky and Hutch, and I like the guys, right? You know, I
Oh,
think
Starsky and Hutch, yeah.
yeah. But when they get into situations I'd never fucking dream, you know, I can never relate to, you know. Whereas
What-
something like Johnny, I can relate to because I do know cases that have.
What they try to, like with Starsky and Hutch, I know they're trying to get them to tone down a lot of this stuff, you know, and not have so much violence and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But with like say something like Johnny, it, like sort of puts up an image for these kids who are your fans.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. You think they're gonna like go start breaking into chemist shops?
No, this is the old catch-22. The reason my songs is not so much to give and to bring out a violence that is there. Mine is to work out the violence that is there. So therefore, to show that the young kids coming up now, I feel are the third generation. They've got a lot of energy, a lot of aggression in them that is always there in youth. I mean, it just comes an age when you're 14 and all of a sudden you're tough. You know, you're stronger than your sister. You can push down your mother. You know, you just got strength because you're grown up. You're a young male. That's what it's down to. And aggression is there. So when I get up onto a stage and play, it's to get this aggression out of me and put it to a good use. I feel the kids that come to the concerts get that same feeling. They get the aggression out of them and it's put to a good use. And especially if they see somebody in a position that they want to be in, say like a guy in a rock group. I know I wanted to be in a rock group when I'd watch guys up there. And they see that they have the same aggression that they have, that it's not an unnatural feeling to have, but they are putting it to something good like rock and roll,
Right.
as opposed to running around the streets beating on old ladies. You know what I mean?
And you think that you could like, you know, and you do songs about being a rock star as well.
Yeah. Who doesn't, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody
This
does.
is Chris Phil.
Phil, real pleasure. After about 5 years of listening to your music, a real pleasure.
Thank you.
What did you like about that?
Oh, the audience were going berserk, but the audience made the night. For me.
Well, you were great. You got such a rapport with the audience. I mean, you don't see that so much.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you started, you know, and you know, the people think, well, am I gonna like actually go buh buh buh?
Yeah.
But then by the end, they were all going crazy. That was hot.
Yeah.
That's not San Francisco either. I mean, it's hard to get our audiences to do anything.
Very hard to get out of their asses.
Yeah.
Unbelievably hard.
That's why it was such a turn on to see the show last night.
It was great for me because the first 3 quarters of our set, we just sort of play like any other band and we're presenting the material. But the last quarter, I like to break down the barrier. Like, years ago, I used to share a flat with a guy who was an actor. And he one day just, it's pretty simple, you know, but the simple things are the hardest thing to digest something.
That's right.
And he said, very simple thing, he says, I work on the stage, you work on the stage. He says, there is a barrier between stage and audience. And I went, come on, man, there's not, you know, because it'd never been my
Not unless you make the
thing.
barrier. Yeah.
And the guy says, no, there is a barrier. And I went, and I checked it out, and there is groups around that like to be idolised, you know, that don't like to break that barrier, that just like to play.
You're
And
right.
people go, yeah. And then I thought, well, that's not the type of group, because I don't really want to be idolised. I want like people to be able to relate to me as a person, you know, disagree with me because maybe I support this football team, but think I'm very clever because I've said this. And they agree with it, so that they believe it's humans up there as opposed to, you know,
Well, that
the
comes across
media
in your
being.
songs all the
Yeah.
time.
So
Really.
like the mirror, and the last quarter of the act, where I'm getting the kids going, you know, just breaking all that, is all to break that barrier, to break that wall, and show that there's contact, and we're only as good as our audience, you know, lets us be. You know what I mean? Because we could have played brilliant last night if the audience wanted to go. We would have felt depressed, we would have played more nervously and things. So, I mean, it's very important.
And that's what happened in New York, right?
Yeah. No, but more so in New York,
The ginger ale.
I didn't think we played well.
You just didn't play well.
Yeah, you know, we were, but there was nobody there. We were nervous because it was a big gig. I just don't think we
What do you mean there was nobody there?
Well,
It
when
was
you
sold
open
out.
it- What?
It was sold out.
Yeah, it was sold out. But when a gig is sold out, it's sold out for the main band, right? So if the people come, they always figure, the main band will be on about 9 o'clock, I'll get there about 8:30, nice. So they're walking in halfway between Still in Love with You.
Yeah.
So they're not catching it. That was what freaked me last night.
Last night they were
all
there for you at least as much.
Yeah, they were all there, like, they were queuing from, the doors were opened at 6 o'clock, so I knew there was people out there to see it.
You want to talk when you eat, or you want to rest for a while?
Take a break here.
I just woke up. I can eat one time.
Yeah. What's your breakfast with Lizzy? What's your background? You don't look very Irish to me.
I am.
Well, you sound real
To me,
Irish.
you're wondering where the black came from. My father's South American. My mother's Irish, and I was born in Dublin. I was brought up in Dublin till I was 1971, where the group then was asked to come to England. My mother, I was brought up by my grandmother. My mother lives in Manchester, has a hotel there. And my father
I read about that.
has got my gypsy spirit and fucked up when I was 4.
You had any contact with him since then?
What?
You have any contact with your old man since he left?
Nah,
No, none at all?
nah,
Even now?
no.
Does he think he knows that his son's a big star now?
Must have seen your
Sure,
picture in
because
the
he'd
paper
be
by now.
after the ready.
Nothing for me, thanks, Elliot. No. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't dislike him or just did what he had to do. Sex and chicks like fucking screwed and left. They could have been home pregnant.
You wrote a book of poetry that came out recently. Is there any way to get a hold of it anymore?
Yes, there is. For anybody that's into Lizzy,
Yeah, I have a store,
It's
a
a
record
record.
store that people ask me for it. And I like to be able to sell it in my store, yeah.
you go to, you write to 52 Dean
Okay.
Street.
Oh.
52 what street?
Dean, D-E-A-N, yeah, Dean Street, London West 1, and that's put W1,
Yeah, right.
and you just write Thin Lizzy.
You can order directly from there.
Yeah, and you can
That's-
get it from
What's
there.
the name of the place?
That's our office, Thin Lizzy's office. you
Oh,
know.
I see. Okay. You can,
So-
great. You can buy quantities from it.
Yeah, you know. I mean, it's just there. It's not like a fan club thing. It's just there for any information that you might want. You know,
Right.
you want to know Scott's birthday. Boom. You know, that type of crap. It's just there. Because again, it's with that to make us accessible to the people that are making us, and also we use it as feedback for what's going on. Because it's very hard to relate to the type of kids that's following you. In England, we've got it down, but in America, like the nearest I've come to relating to kids that follow us is Texas and the West Coast. You know, it's the nearest they've come. One because Scott is from the West Coast, you know, and Texas because
Not New York, Detroit or something?
well, Detroit is a real rock and roll city, and I know we're a rock and roll band, so I know we go well in Detroit. But I also know any other rock and roll band would go well in Detroit, you know.
True.
Without being derogatory to them, you know, it's just I relate just a little bit more to the kids here. Eventually, like I'd like to be able to get America as well sussed as I've got England sussed. you know.
How's it different?
Well, one, in America we're known as a recording band. In England we're known as a live act. And our records become hits because we're a good live act. In America, you know, it's down to promotion, record companies, you know, we're trying very slowly to break that and become known as a live act. You know what I mean? But here I talked about Johnny the Fox like it wasn't the success of the Jailbreak. Yet in England, we've had the hit single and we've had a gold album. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, in England, it's not a failure, you know. And yet, I'm supposedly to come to America and talk about Johnny the Fox, like an album that didn't do as well as Jailbreak, when it really did, on the levels that the people are talking about. You know what I mean?
the set that you're doing seems to cover a lot more. It's not like a tour that's like hyping the new album. It's like it covers the whole gamut of your songwriting almost. You know, representation of every part. You know, from the early days up to now. I'm glad.
Yeah,
because I've been waiting 5 years to see you guys live. I was really happy to hear older songs being done.
Yeah, and we even do all that.
Oh, I know.
And newer songs, you know. But
you only went back to about nightlife. About that far.
The only reason we did that was we only could play an hour. Right. We figured we want to establish as a live act, so we picked an hour's worth of songs for a live act as opposed to the promotion of one. I mean, obviously we do Don't Believe a Word. Yeah. But before they released it as a single, we were doing Johnny the Fox and Johnny, you know, and like we do Wild One, we do Shoot 'em Warrior, we do Rocker, we do a lot of
stuff.
Still
do the Rocker, I was wondering about
the Rocker. There's a great demand for it, because the Rocker was really a hit single, really, without being a hit single.
I've heard a couple of live tapes on it.
Yeah.
A lot, and some BBC recordings.
Yeah?
Yeah. Brought it home.
Jump hills.
You're in charge of this show.
When you write a song, is it the lyrics first that you write, and the melody comes later?
Varies completely.
Right. I wanted to say that I do a lot of writing myself. You know, for not this kind of writing, but poetry and that type of thing. And I've always felt that we always write about the same topics. You know,
Yeah.
so I say it's a pleasure to meet you because through your music has been a real friend to me over the years.
That's
Even times like when a lady breaking up or something, I put on Still Nobody or Another Cut, and I think, all right, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you kind of transcend all those lines, you know, of like what do you call it, of just getting to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
Song.
Yeah.
You can write about the emotions very well.
Oh, great. I'm really glad, because that's the way I do it. I mean, I write basically out of a feeling to share
For sure
experiences.
Right.
And everybody that really gets into it obviously knows that, like, the things I'm singing about are things that I've been through, and therefore, even if you're feeling depressed, there's comfort in knowing that other people have been depressed because of the same thing, you know, and
makes you, you're not alone that way.
Right, sort of thing, you know, and it's not unique, you know, and you can survive, you know. I mean, sometimes you need that strength, you know.
You do, that's very true.
But I know I get it a lot from Van Morrison, sort of thing.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
Astral Weeks is the album.
That's the premier album
Yeah.
for him. It really is.
That's the one premier album for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Sgt. Pepper's album. Played her every day for a year.
Do you get any free time to listen to what's going on in music?
Oh yeah.
Time?
Yeah, I do. I like Nils Lofgren now.
Do you?
Yeah, I really think he's good.
I'm disappointed in his new album that came out last week. I think it's
I haven't
kind of sad.
I haven't gone into it.
It's a real departure for him.
Right.
The first song on the album, it says it's a song about the manager wants him to sell out and not, do his rock and roll anymore. He's not going to do it. And the whole album is the opposite. This whole album is really slick. And I went, oh, come on, Neil, because his last couple albums, I loved them.
Mud in Your Eye is one of the best things he's ever done.
Oh, I know it. Really. It's beautiful, beautiful song. You know Easily Dunbar, I hear. Right?
Yeah.
All right. He's a friend of mine also.
Yeah, he was here last night.
Oh, great. Yeah. Do you like the show?
Yeah.
Great.
We hope to tour together.
Oh, what, with Journey? One of his old days?
Well, they're coming to Europe, and we're huge in Europe. And I figured they can either go to Europe and not play to many people because they're not really well known. Or if they did a tour with us, they'd really be put in front of rock and roll, you know.
All right.
And I thought that'd suit. That's just what he needs, Ainsley, you know.
Amazing drummer too.
Oh,
You
the
and Brian,
best.
Yeah, you and Brian are a tight rhythm section. I guess after so many years together,
Yeah.
but it was just incredible. Loved it.
Me and Brian weren't too pleased about it last night because I couldn't hear him.
Weren't? Could have fooled me.
I couldn't hear him too well
Oh, really?
because we didn't get a monitor check, you know.
Oh, wow.
They let the kids in at 6 o'clock. They let the kids in at 6 o'clock.
Well, you still been playing for long enough that you know.
Oh yeah, but I mean, when you've got an audience that ready to go, like you say, some people out there waiting 5 years.
Yeah, really.
You'd think
That's right.
to fuck you could go out and do a professional show, you know?
Yeah, really.
You just get some fucking silly guy figures
Better get that.
that the kids can fucking come in.
I was asking Brian out there about. I heard in an article, I think it was an NME or Sound or something, that around 73 or 74, there had been a short film made featuring you people that was going to be used like, the topic of the film was like Life on the Road with a rock band or something like that. And do you know anything about it? Like, what happened to it?
It was done by the London Art College.
A school project?
Yeah.
So they have it. It'd be nice to dig that up.
Yeah. It's a guy called Paul Cusack. He's Cyril Cusack's son.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you know Cyril Cusack. He's
I don't know the name.
big actor.
Oh, okay. Well, did they follow you on a tour then, or to get footage?
No, it was just one gig
concert.
where we got all the Lizzy supporters.
Oh,
Yeah. That was a film a gig where the roadies come in, set up all the audience come in, and we come in and play.
I also heard about that there were plans to do a solo album.
Yeah.
Tour came up, so you have to put that aside for a while.
But I'm gonna do one.
You want?
Definitely.
You know who you're going to use? Different musicians or?
Yeah. Phil Collins from Genesis. Yeah.
They're gonna be here.
Nils, well, this is only a rumor. Well,
You know Phil Collins?
yeah. Great friends with Phil Collins.
Is that right? He's a master drummer.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, Nils Lofgren is, I was saying I like Mud in Your Eye to this guy from Melody Maker that I know, Harry Doherty. And he was doing an interview with Nils and he said, he told Nils about it, and Nils has offered to play guitar on him.
Oh yeah.
So, Brian Mason can play on it, Gary will play on it, Richie Blackmore will play on it.
That was a whole bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
Star on it, whatever. All right.
Be one of them.
Sounds good.
Chieftains, okay.
What's the idea of it as opposed to like just a Thin Lizzy album?
Well, Thin Lizzy is a group,
True.
right? And if I bring down a song to Thin Lizzy, it's interpreted as a group. So I've only acquired the say over a song I've written. If I did it on a solo album, I'd have full say over everything. You know what I mean?
Are there songs that you're saving already that you've written?
No, I don't save songs. Lizzy, they're always first. Lizzy gets the choice of everything first.
Oh, I see.
And it's the ones Lizzy reject that I might still like
Yeah. Right.
as a songwriter that I might do.
Oh, I look forward to that. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how good your memory is, but you ran into a couple of friends of mine when you were supposed to be here last time. The Cocker tour fell through.
Yeah.
You were in town for a few days.
Yeah.
You went to a distributor called Mighty Fine, and it was like down in the warehouse district.
Yeah.
And you went out and you spoke to join a couple of friends of mine.
Yeah, that's right. There's some, these guys knew phenomenal amount about the group.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
Barry. Yeah, he got a lot of information.
Propaganda.
Profit man. All right. Well, thank you. That's great.
All right. You want to come and get some pictures?